Good evening, ladies and gents. My name is Deputy Sheriff John Boggs. I was the law around here for almost 30 years. I know these streets like the back of my hand. Now, tonight, you're going to meet a lot of shady characters. Enjoy your journey tonight. Thank you.
Very many of you. Good. Awesome. You are going to have a fantastic time tonight. And as I said, safety is our #1 priority. So please be careful because we would like you to leave this tour alive and not dead. Please don't join our Auburn ghosts. We have plenty right now.
In 1898, I was hired to be the jailer of this courthouse. It's a beautiful building. We were so proud of it when it was completed. It's our 3rd courthouse in the county. But it took on a darker hue for me not long after it opened. This building, this place, is surrounded by death. Out front near that flagpole, that's where we used to hang people. There were lots of hangings that took place out there. Many were buried at the foot of the gallows and forgotten. At least until 1911, when workers digging a water ditch found 2 skeletons. But more are probably still out there. And death has found its way inside this building as well. In this very room where you are right now was once the men's jail where I worked. 3 men perished in here. Open yourself to the possibility that as the nights grow longer, darker, and colder, the veil between worlds gets thinner. And sometimes someone or something can push through. You might hear a mournful whisper, catch the scent of a long-ago perfume, feel an icy touch, or even stare into the black eyes of someone peering out at you from the great beyond. For Old Town Auburn is a place of history, and here there be ghosts.
Welcome all of you to Old Town Auburn, Commercial Street. My name is Mr. John Walsh, Mr. John T. Walsh, or JT for short. Now I'd like for all of you to look around and try to imagine what it would have looked like here in November of 1904. Our streets are mainly unpaved and made of dirt, and our main mode of transportation would have been a horse-drawn buggy, much like this one. Our courthouse, completed not even a decade ago, sits splendidly on the hill, looking down above us all right now. Now, I would like for all of you to imagine that you're dead. It's still 1904, mind you, so you were probably killed in a mining accident or maybe tuberculosis or scarlet fever. Disease was far more likely to kill you out here than anything else. But no matter what it was that took you, they would have brought your body right here to me at 301 Commercial Street, the home of Auburn's first, and for a long time only, mortuary parlor.
am reeling from the grief of it when 3 months later, my darling son Joe takes up with that wench Alma. Oh, Alma, yes, I did hire her as a servant in my household. Well, I was overwhelmed. The death of my husband, 8 children to take care of, all the work on the ranch. But I do know that until I can forgive her, I will forever be haunted by the ghost of Alma Bell.
The Armis family. I fell in love with their son Joe. Oh, if you saw Joe, you'd know why. He was the best looking man in Auburn. He was the love of my life, and he made so many promises to me. We became engaged. And then he threw me down and broke off the engagement, breaking my heart. How could he do this to me? I'm so perfect and so too. I just don't understand it. Oh, what's a girl to do? I shot him dead with his own gun.
There was a party planned for one night, and the family that lived here decided they were going no matter what. The baby got sick. They were going to go anyway. They left that baby home alone, a teenager. That teenager decided she was going to go out anyway. So as soon as that baby went to sleep, she left that babe laying in the cradle, and she went out of town too. I tried to tell them. I tried to make them see me. I didn't want them to go. They all left. So I stood over that baby watching her sleep. Well, sometime later, that baby woke up crying. That baby cried and cried and cried. Oh, the crying from that baby. Well, then suddenly the crying stopped. And a few hours later, that family returned home. No teenager watching the baby. And that baby was dead. Family's distraught. The baby's died, the teenager's gone. That daughter comes home.
In the building and said, "You know, Nana, we're not alone here." She said, "Well, of course we're not, honey. Your mom's here." And he said, "Yeah, there's somebody on the stairs," pointing in a closet. The woman said, "Honey, there's no stairs in there." And he just responded with a nod in the affirmative. Well, that made her curious, and she hired a medium who came in and said, "Yeah, in fact, this place is haunted. There's a woman here and her name is Estelle. And Estelle feels that it's her responsibility to protect and guard the bones that are in the basement. The bones belong to Chinese laborers who were here in the early 1800s.
He was next door in his office. I was all alone until a man walked through these doors on May 26, 1904, around 3 p.m. He had a slouch hat pulled low on his head, goggles, a fake beard, and overalls. He strode up to the teller's counter and passed me a note. Demanded all the money in the bank. Well, I feigned ignorance in the hopes I could delay long enough for somebody else to walk into the bank. Well, the last robber grew frustrated with me. He brandished his pistol, leapt over the counter, and scooped up gold coins into a sack he had brought with him.
She's here. She's closing up the store. She left her keys and her phone out front here. She went to the bathroom, doing her thing. She gets up. She goes for the handle and slamming on that door. Somebody was on the other side slamming on the door. She thought she locked somebody in the store and that she was going to get robbed. That was her first thought. She goes for her phone. She forgot it out here. She didn't have her keys because they were out here, and she had locked the door. So whatever was in here can't get out. You can imagine what she was thinking. Some time goes by. She gets up the courage to go to the door handle again, tries to turn the knob, slamming on that door again. Now the smocks on the back of that door are swinging back and forth. It was being hit so hard. She's crying. She said, cops are coming. They're at the front door. They're going to get you right now, or whatever she was saying. She said she was lying through the other side of whatever's on that door. It got quiet again for about 5 minutes, and she reached for the door.
I remember the day very well. It was 7:00 p.m. in the evening. I was walking into town when I had a nasty fall onto a fire hydrant, and I ripped my trousers. So I walked all the way over to the dry goods store owned by Mr. Cohen, and I bought a new pair. After that, I walked here to the post office. Then at about 7:42 p.m., the fire bell rang. Now, I was curious as to where the fire may be, so I went over to the firehouse and I asked one of the volunteer firemen where that fire was, and he looked at me with a shocked look and he said it was my house. I didn't believe it, so of course I ran home up the hill as fast as I could. The fire, it was mainly in the back of the house, so they went into the front to see if there was anyone they could help or save, and that's when they found the first body. It was my sister, Bertha. She was only 2 years younger than I, though you could not tell any longer. Her eyes were gone, her ears burned away, her hair melted, her arms charred to stumps. I remember I arrived just after they pulled her out.
Right quick. He hightailed it back to Corvallis. I, on the other hand, was much more stubborn. I was determined to get what I had come for. And it was that tenacity which earned me the nickname by which many of you know me. Rattlesnake Dick. Well, on July 11th, 1859, Sheriff Boggs and his law dogs set up an ambush for me when they heard that I was back in town. And they did that dirty deed over by that firehouse that sits on Lincoln Way. Well, in the gunfight, I managed to take one of them out. I swear it was Boggs himself. But I also took 2 bullets in the melee. I managed to escape, but in my condition, I couldn't get far. They found my body the next day, up by where Rayleigh's now sits, also on Lincoln Way.
See, in November of 1855, at the Novelty Distillery just down the road from my house, a fire erupted. The boiler ignited, the spirit tanks exploded, the whole place was engulfed in flames. Well, lots of us joined outside and we were shouting encouragement to the firemen. And soon it became clear that this fire was going from bad to worse. And the fire chief needed help, and he shouted to the onlookers. No one answered. He shouted again. No one came forward. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my skirts, I threw them up over my head, and I rushed into that burning inferno. A few seconds later, I came out with the first of the firemen I saved that night. I deposited him. There were still 3 more men inside. I rushed back into that burning hell 3 times, and 3 times I brought men out with me, safe and alive. On the last time, I succumbed to myself. I collapsed in the doorway.
I was the first sheriff in this here town. I originally came here in search of gold, and I did all right, but the town started to grow and it was in need of lawmen. So I got tapped as the sheriff, and Eccles, my deputy. Well, after Eccles died, I was more determined than ever to keep law and order in this here town. So it was a shock when come Christmas time, 1850, same year Eccles passed, we had our first hanging here in Auburn. Well, more like a lynching. Now, I wish it were that varmint that killed my partner, but it weren't. It was another murderer. Story goes that a Captain Sharp, sea captain from England, sailed his ship into the Frisco Bay. And after he docked, his crew took off. Some came up in search of gold, others went in for good times. And they left Captain Sharp high and dry.